So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of the most anticipated meeting of all the program of the Illustrators Cafe of Bologna Children's Book Fair 2024. My name is Marcella Terrusi. I am delighted of being here today to present you the meeting, the conversation with the jury of the Illustrators Exhibition 2024. So please welcome our jury members that are fantastic professionals who worked very, very hard. We will talk also about numbers to select the fabulous artists that now are exhibited in our Illustrators Exhibition. And they are, I ask you to welcome Marco Ghidelli, founder of Rao Metallic Publishing House, Italy. Thank you. Leo Beck, founder of Jamimage Publishing House and also author, illustrators, and graphic designer from South Korea. Wevin Turcheter, author and illustrator here on my left from Norway. And Sion Wang, founder of Macmillan Century, joint venture of Macmillan Group, and of also Ever After Book Publishing House from China. This incredible group, guided from the curator of the Illustrators Exhibition, that is Deanna Belluti, that is there, and please give a warm applause, because the curating an exhibition like this is a huge work. Deanna, grazie. They were immersed in an ocean of illustrations. And they went through a process that had different phases and moments. And so they first worked online in their country, in their places, assessing every illustration. And then they met in presence in Bologna, and they went for the final hard, I guess, we will hear, decisions. And just to give you some numbers, and then you also have the possibility to bring it with you with the fabulous annual that was made, curated by Bologna Children's Book Fair with Corraini Edizioni, with the cover of Paloma Valdivia, where as for tradition, you have the jury reports inside, and you have a selection of the selected illustrations that you have in the exhibition. Here you can find the numbers that are really impressive, and I want to thank all the illustrators who submitted, not only the finalists or the winners at the end, but everyone who submitted, because then you will tell us, but it was a fantastic universe. I think that's why it's so hard also to select, because the number are this. 17,600 illustrations. Can you imagine? It's like I don't know, a town. And sent by 3,520 illustrators. Thank you for your trust in Bologna Children's Book Fair. Coming from 81 countries, and 619 were chosen for a closer look, and 344 selected for the final assessment stage, and 78 winners that then at 12:30 we will have the pleasure to give their award to, their prize, their diploma to. So it's the 57th Illustrators Exhibition. So it was established 3 years after the Bologna Children's Book Fair as a long tradition. For us, illustration is, I can say, largely the most important language we are committed to. We can say that because it's narrative, because it's cultural, because it's many different things. It's imaginative. It's a language with all its richness. And I would start, I want to say that this exhibition then is also traveling the world. because it's a long tradition that it goes to Japan, and then it goes to Korea, and who knows, the grand tours of Bologna are always getting the world closer, and so these artists and these fabulous illustrations will travel and will do a journey, an international journey. They are also the mirror of an international discussion about childhood and narrative, because every artist is asked to send 5 illustrations, and they are asked to be connected from a narrative line. And so there is an interpretation of what childhood, what narrative, what literature, what imagination, what the world is. Our jury members, they bring with them their huge professional skills. I presented them very, very shortly, but they do many things. And I would start asking Lee Obeck, who is the founder of Jam Image Publishing House, that we also had the pleasure to award with the Bologna Ragazzi Award. We know your fabulous books that are really just stunning as for curation in a technical part of it and as of the choice of the authors. But you are also an author and an illustrator. So you brought many different perspectives in your experience. And I would like to know, how did you approach to the task? What were your expectations, and how the experience in its whole was for you?
Hello, bonjour, good morning. Yes, yes, I'm speaking in French and in English. Okay. Dès que j'arrivais ici pour sélectionner des illustrateurs de cette année, et en fait, on a déjà préparé un 12e tour sur online and tout. Là, en fait, je n'ai pas beaucoup attendu une de qualité en tant que... En fait, je n'attendais pas des grandes œuvres, mais j'ai vu quand même il y a quelque chose de très nouveau et très rénovatif. Donc, j'ai commencé à concentrer, de sélectionner, et puis je suis venu pour la dernier tour sur place. Et je trouve que c'est vraiment formidable de trouver, et ça existe encore une possibilité de créer une nouveauté pour communiquer avec des enfants. Et ça existe toujours. Ça m'a fait vraiment un grand plaisir de trouver ça.
Thank you very much. Good morning. We arrived here for the selection of this year, and we had already had 2 rounds of visioning on the internet at a distance. And quite frankly, I didn't really expect to find very great works when I came here. But I was very surprised to find that, in fact, there was a great deal of novelties and innovative work that was presented. So then I saw this and I really started to concentrate hard when we came for the final in situ selection that we made. Indeed, I think that it's very positive indeed. It's fantastic that there is still the possibility of creating innovative works for children, that this drive for innovation does exist, and that gives me a great deal of pleasure.
Merci, Liovek, and I would go now to Wevin Torshete, who is an author and illustrator. So you brought and you came with maybe expectations or, I don't know, maybe fears or something, and you found through all these steps an incredible process, no, of knowing so many visual universes and then also selecting and discussing also with your colleagues. So I'd love to hear about your experience.
Yes, because my perspective have been as illustrator and working with illustration. And before doing this work with the jury, I had to formalize for myself maybe some sort of criteria for selecting the work. And this was before we saw the work. So I was thinking, yeah, if I should think about 4 criteria that I could choose from, that are a bit open, I would look for example, craftsmanship, ideas, originality, and gut feeling, how the work feels for me. So that was, in a way, my guidance through looking at the work. But still, it's such a vast amount of work. It's so 3,500 illustrators. It's so much, and from all over the world, and so diverse. And in a way, it's a bit unfair to judge everything in the same way because it's not supposed to be seen in the same way. So. But I think that we had some nice talks and discussions, and we all have had our different perspective on works, and also it's important to see beyond your own preferences and tastes and things like that. And I think we did so.
You did a great job, and I really appreciated at this point that it's also in the annual report of your text, because you were asked which were the tools or the criteria, and you said also this very important point. You said at the end is not really sure that a good thing needs to have everything at the highest level. Is what comes from that, and I really like it. I really love this. I appreciate it, and I am sure that artists and illustrators, even that we're submitting, will really like this, because it's a very human and deep aesthetic posture.
Yes, it's sometimes a great idea is the important thing in the work. Sometimes it's the craft. Sometimes it can be different things which are important in different work, and that trumps other elements of it. So yeah, that's important to look for.
In fact, you selected, if you already saw the exhibition, you can see there are masters of illustration, internationally renowned, but there are also young people, or maybe people that is young from a professional point of view, which doesn't mean the actual age, but maybe just came or recently to this language. And this gives a great variety, not only to the exhibition, but also of the perspective of the future of illustration, where we want to welcome not just young people, not just masters, but everybody that wants and needs to say something through that language. And thank you for that, Wevin. And I would go to Xiaoan Wang. You are a publisher, and so you bring this expertise and this perspective. And how were your expectations just for the experience when you were invited as a jury member? What did you expect it to be such a huge task? Was it good or hard? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And my name is very hard to pronounce. I know my Chinese name is Xiaoyan. It's very hard. I know that. And it's been a very fabulous and very joyful experience for me to be a jury member. And I'm actually quite surprised when I look through all the submissions, because in the beginning, my idea is there will be a lot of young illustrators. I didn't expect that there are so many well-established illustrators also participated and hand in their works. So, like during all the process, I have always tried very hard to try to support young illustrators, because in certain ways, it's kind of not fair, I think, for like young ones who just started their or tried their career in the illustration field. And also, it's very, there is an interesting thing happened yesterday when I was doing the portfolio review. One of the young lady who was on my session, and she told me that she actually handed in her works. And when she showed her works to me, I thought it's fabulous. So there is one suggestion from me to all the future participants. Please do remember that the first 2 rounds will be doing online. It's very different. When you look at your works now, like on paper, on printed, your printed works will be very different from online when you view it from a little screen, a small screen. So the work she handed in is actually very detailed. So you can imagine that on a small screen, like a lot of things are just gone. So I feel very sorry for her, and there is one suggestion for future participants. And I also want to encourage young artists that even if you lose this time, please keep trying and please hang in there and try next time. And as long as you believe in yourself, and the door will be opening for you in the future, that's for sure. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for saying that. It's very important. It's a very important point for us because, you know, the Illustrators Exhibition has different functions, no? as a kaleidoscopic sense. Because in one way, it mirrors some excellence in children's illustration, of course, but it also is always the result of a group, curation, let's say, selection. So it's one of the possible paths that you could do in that ocean of illustrations. So it's just a way to improve and to foster the dialogue between the professionalities. So that's why for us it's so important, this meeting where you meet the jury, because this jury makes this exhibition, another jury can make another one, which it means that there are infinite possibilities to watch and to talk, no, between personalities. So thank you so much also for sharing this anecdote. It's very important because we also, as Bologna Children's Book Fair, we really care about not just mirroring what is going on. Of course, we love to highlight excellence with awards, with exhibition, but we also like to do a training work. We have, you know, so much programs going on, and the portfolio reviews, for example, at the Illustrators Corners, has this function, and we want to foster discussions, and we love where people would exchange suggestions, because it's very good to train the professionality of it and the professionalism of the illustrator, not just to tell you we like your inner world or whatever. This is for sure, but it's very important also to know which is the journey that your creation will do in order to put it in the best shape to be valued and to meet publishers, books, and children, because our final thing is that illustration, that art of the universe of the artist goes into a shape of a book, the humble technology of the book that is irreplaceable in itself, because it can go in the hands even of a 2 years, 3 years, very young child without any other technology, and tell a story and bring a universe. So about that, Marco Ghidelli, you are a publisher. You founded Raum Italic Publishing House. You have a long experience in publishing, even before Raum.
Yeah.
And so who's best to talk about the format of the book, but also, yes, your expectation. What were you expecting illustrators to submit?
Yeah.
Or the process also to be?
Yeah, also, first I want to say that for me it was an amazing experience, and I think you have already mentioned some of the most important points. So, for example, it's wonderful to have a look at the variety of the illustrators and the variety of the style of illustrator, and to have a look of so many illustrators that come from many countries, different countries all over the world. And it's not easy, and it's not easy in, I work as a publishing house, so I know many illustrators, the work of many illustrators. But so many illustrators all together for the same occasion, it's very, very nice to see. And I have to say also that the quality of the illustration was very, very high, and was an art selection, because we had to choose just 75 illustrators. You have already mentioned the number was a huge work. And I think it's a wonderful possibility for the young illustrator to show their job, and it's in a certain way it's more interesting. Yeah, it's for sure interesting to see the world illustration of the professional illustrator with a lot of book already published. But it's in a certain way also more interesting to see the illustration of the young illustrator, because you can look in the future and see what it could happen in a few years. And so it was so nice, yeah.
Thank you so much, Marco Ghidelli. And we asked our jury to pick up a few illustrations to show, in order to tell us better what was the sensibility and the taste that they brought with them. So, of course, this that you will see is not a short list of the exhibition, okay? Please note that it's a way in which we take like a guided tour of the exhibition while sitting here. So it's just asking to a friend, so what really made your heart beat? What was for you like, boom, this is me, this is something I want to fight for? Because, you know, in a jury, you have to defend your views, your tastes, and sometimes, I don't know, we will hear from you, but sometimes, or I think it's never easy. Because, as we were saying, sometimes you just love that piece of art, and maybe you're a publisher, artist, with all your skills, but that's something that you cannot even describe much more than another one, like a good illustration, or an illustration that makes your heart beat What's the difference? It's a point, no? So it depends, as we were saying before, and Waven and also the other jury members, they pointed that out. They bring with them their perspective, and then through the dialogue, they can communicate it and come to a common selection. So this is to say that now, to know our jury members better, we will listen from them something about their tastes, their experience into the illustrations. Okay, so we will show a few illustrations that they really liked and that they picked up to bring us their experience. Okay, and we will start again from Leo back, if you like, and we can go to your selections. Thank you, and you can also change it as you want, if you want. Can you give it to Lebek? If you want, you can click, or maybe Marco can do it, or I can do it. Lo aiuti tu? Ok, tu lo vedi là davanti. E vedi anche quella dopo. Ok.
Yes.
Fai tu che sei più vicino.
Okay. This year, in 2020, for awarded illustrations, we encounter many interesting animals images. The animals are illustrated as friends sneaking into human lives, as being with emotion in wild nature, or as dynamic and mysterious creature on the earth. Let's look at the 5 selected illustrations. First one is this. Yes, animals often sneak into children's books and play with the children, like in Little Nemo or Jumanji, the famous picture books. And they may cause big trouble, but they also make good friends with the children. In this illustration, the ferocious animals are having a good time with the child, looking comfortable with them. They are friends. The way the lion is eating fragile cookies looks so real, very funny. And the second one is this one. Yes. No, the other. Yes. This illustration leads us to look at the wild animals with the human emotions. This illustrates simplified the animal form with the relaxed expressions. The warm rays of light in watercolor elevate the illustration to a peaceful atmosphere. And third one is a Colombian illustration. Yes. As you know, the earth has enormous nature with so many kinds of animals living together. Of all, only humans are curious species and study the others. What kind of illustration can make a message like this? Close-up humorous animals and human in the vast nature illustrated by this artist is the answer. And fourth is, yes, I like very much this picture. How can he illustrate the dynamic vitality of tenacious animals living in tough place beyond human imaginations? The message is well delivered in this illustration, combining the expressionist image of nature and the naive look of the animal in collage. And finally, I chose this picture. I'd like to introduce this digital illustrated work because it is unique, because it is not like AI creation. Here, many small animals are hiding here and there, and it's fun to find them. The animals moving by boats are illustrated in unique graphic. And in conclusion, we are living in a world where AI does the illustrations. Sharing the illustration of the animals, I want to ask you how AI illustration differ from human illustrations. Good illustrations are more than good depictions that AI can do. good illustrations deliver the artist's view of human value and humor. And good illustrations broaden the horizon of the abstract empathy. This definitely is not something AI can do. Thank you.
Thank you very much also for raising questions. And so we will go back to it, but there was a lot of discussion, of course, also about this, so about creation itself and techniques and AI. And I would go now to Wevin Turchete, and I would love to see your selection and know more about your thesis, what you loved more.
Yes, I chose some images here that are maybe closer to, I don't know, closer to how I am working myself, because I'm very much a line drawer, so I picked that kind of images. But that doesn't mean that my tastes are limited to this kind of images, because I think most illustrators have a broader taste than what they're actually doing themselves, that they are influenced by other things than what they're actually doing. And also in the training very often, before finding one's way of working, one often tries out different approaches, different styles in a way. And that's something that I think often young illustrators are asking, that about how is it important to have a known style? Is it, how do I find my style? Questions like that. And I think style really is not that important. It's more about finding a voice in what you're doing and an unique way of expressing yourself. And I think these images and the images we picked for the exhibition, there's distinct voices, and in these images there is a lot of humor, a bit scary, maybe a mix, it's a bit surreal. And also in the big exhibition, I think this is something that goes through a lot of the work. There's also some serious topics in the exhibition, but mixed with playfulness. And I think if you use humor, playfulness, you can talk about so many things, both in images and in storytelling. And this kind of inner world, in a way, that you can create with images that you can't create. Or that is, I think this is unique in a way for drawings and a way that children are viewing the way also when they're drawing. And these images, I think, for example, are a little bit like children are thinking. And also, technically, I think we can see in the exhibition and we can see here that there is a lot of more traditional techniques being used. There is, of course, a lot of things that are done digitally, or a mix between digital and traditional techniques. But I think when this is happening, it's more merged now. So the technical, the digital aspect is more a natural way, a natural tool in a way, than it maybe used to be. And it's nice to see like classical techniques as pencil drawing, pen and ink, watercolor, even printmaking, etchings we can see in the exhibition. And I think this is nice. And this, as was mentioned with AI, this is something, of course, you can mimic all these techniques, but that's just a mimic. You can also make it in that way and use these tools and take the advantage of these kind of tools. And I think that's a very interesting way to go. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Wevin. Let me say, let me share a memory that is not just personal, because it was a Bologna Children's Book Fair, where when Owen Duchete was awarded with the Bologna Ragazzi Award, and it was ages ago. Weven, do you remember where it was? I don't. You probably do.
It was 2008.
2008.
Yes.
And it's just fantastic, because in our community we are sharing paths. So what we see, even with the illustrations or with the awards and even with the jury processes, we are seeing different professionalism growing up. I mean, we're growing together, and it's just fantastic and such an honor to have you as a jury member. And in that time, everything was so different. I mean, it's ages ago. Just wanted to share this memory. There was Antonio Faetti. We had a wordless book. At the time, it was very unusual. And yes, it's been fantastic to follow this artist through his path. So thank you very much for your work, also as a jury member. And we go to Xuan Wang. Was it better? No. Tell it. Say it again, please. Say it again.
小燕.
Xiaolian.
Yeah.
Better.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead. So, as a publisher and of course as a reader, so what did you find?
The 5 pieces I picked up here not necessarily are my favorites, but they are all from Chinese artists. And I'm going to tell the reason why I picked all the Chinese artists here. And first, because Chinese illustrators are among the largest group of submissions this year. It probably be the most number of participants for this year's illustration exhibition. I can't remember exactly, but somewhere around 800.
I think it's, yes, I think it's 1 out of 5, something like this, no? 20%, we said?
I don't know.
I've read
maybe
20% somewhere.
Yeah, it represented the largest amount of participants. And that's one of the reasons I select these 5 pieces. And another one is I really want to take this opportunity to, because I always think about the younger illustrators. So I think China represents a big opportunity for young illustrators, because with the development, like the picture book market in China has developed for more than 20 years. But now it reached the stage of all the Chinese publishers want to create their own original picture books. So it represents a kind of opportunity for illustrators, not only from China, or originally from China, but also from everywhere. So there is an opportunity there. So yeah, that's the second reason I picked it. And the third reason is even if we can have a look of all the 5 pieces, it's all those artists are all originally trained in China, but I know some of them study and live in foreign countries. Like this one, we actually published this book. It's one of the 100 Brawl bookshelf book. And the artist study and lives in Belgium. And some of them, this lady is very super talented. She lives in China. And this one I don't know, but I know this lady lives in US. All of them are originally trained in China, but they live everywhere. You can tell that even if they come from the same kind of cultural background and the training experience maybe, but they show quite difference and dramatic differences in their own personality, skills, and even voice. So that's what makes them stand out among what we mentioned, like among almost 800 participants. So that's part of the point I want to bring is for illustrators and for artists, your cultural and your training background might not that be important. Now you come from a certain cultural background, but now it's a global world. You can always you have your own cultural root, but you can always learn and exchange ideas and learn from other, like a global perspective, have your own global perspective. So it will make you have more chances to appeal to all publishers everywhere. Like we all know, children's books, basically it have no nations. It could travel globally. So yeah, that's the third reason I mentioned that. And the last one is the 5 pieces. I want to highlight some, like we mentioned, imagination, creativity, and also humor in the 10 pieces that the 2 gentlemen showed. And in these 5 pieces, I want to highlight dialogue and communication. So when we create artworks for picture books, I would like to remind artists to always remember there should be a communication between your illustration with your young readers. And this is very important. So the message you want to convey from your illustrations to your young readers, how to use your illustrations to communicate and make a conversation with your young readers is very important. And also I want to highlight action and movement. So what made Caldecott, we all know that Caldecott revolutionized picture books in the very beginning, and he changed he founded the modern, he created the modern picture books. What made him so different from other artists at that time is because action, it's because movement, it's because conversation. So this is very important if you want to make a picture book. And you can find all the actions, movement, communication, and conversation here in the 5 pieces here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Well, we have a strong relationship with China, and about the illustrations, I would like to add a couple of things, just saying that we have a new project devoted to Chinese illustration. The name is Excellence in Chinese Illustration. There is an exhibition in the Old 30 that you can see, because China is doing so much about children's illustration, and we're seeing more and more submission every year, not just for the exhibition, but also for the Bologna Ragazzi Award. And we are noticing things that are going on, and with the China South Publishing group, we made up this partnership for a new exhibition, so just to get deeper into the Chinese illustration. And the exhibition will actually go also to China. And then I would like to say some more, if you like, on this quality that you were discussing about picture book, because that's very interesting, and thank you for quoting Randolph Caldecott and the history of picture books, because that's what happened. That is a language that has been evolving and in years, and it's so important even for young illustrators to study the history of picture books and illustration, to know how it changed and what adventure it brought. And you were talking about the dynamic, no? And Maurice Sendak was calling it, that was a big fan, of course, of Caldecott, was calling it the beat. He said that good children illustrations have the beat, the rhythm. And I think it's a very nice expression to say it, and something that moves like childhood has, something that never stays. So if you want, we can maybe go on with this. Like, what is the? If you could say, it's a kind of a game, no? But just to say, if you could say at the end, what is the thing that really takes you, no? The action, the communication, the idea. What is it? So I would make another round of a quick maybe question about that. Marco, you ready? Do you want to start?
Yeah.
Thank you. Also as a publisher, now what do you look for, like what I want?
Yeah. I want to speak
Please.
about the illustration altogether.
Sure.
Have you already said it's not a short list, but I think that this illustration altogether can show 2 points that for me are particularly important. And the first one is the originality of the illustration and the point of view of the illustrators. For example, in this case, of this.
This is a master, Diego Blanchi. We know it's a
exactly.
friend. It's a great artist, established illustrator.
These are very, very different. And I think it's very important if an illustrator had to show us something about her or his point of view. And if the illustration is well done, we can see the same thing through the point of view of the illustrators. And this is a very, very important thing, because in this moment we can read the story of the book through the eye of the illustrators. And in this point, I think that brings value to ourselves, because we can see something in another way. And this is in particular important for children, because when children read a book, maybe the story in the book it's not real, but they make an experience, and the experience become real. And so it's something they have in this moment, something more, and it's very, very important. So for me, the point of view of the illustrator and the variety, the style, the personal style, is very important. And yeah, in this case, are all very, very different, and I think with a very strong point of view. The second thing, it's the communication, because I think the most important thing one of the most important things of illustration are the strong of the communication. So illustration, it's not just, I don't want to speak about the negative part of the illustration, but it's just to be clear, illustration is not just decorative. It's not just a way to fill an empty page. Illustration is communication, and an illustration have to tell us something. So maybe it's better an illustration also not so well done, but with a strong meaning. And I think, for example, also in the expression of the two protagonists, it's clear that they want to say, of course, it's not easy to understand a story just from one single illustration, but I think it's very clear what she is an illustrator, what she wants to tell us through this illustration.
There is a tension that you can see. Also.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Marco Ghidelli. So the point of view, this is so important what you said. So you said two things. The point of view which is also meeting someone else. It's an encounter. It's meeting the other. So it's so much more. I mean, in the aesthetic experience, there is also the ethic one, and it's you are encountering another person and his universe or a universe, and so how much this is important also for culture in general and education, humanity, and for peace, for example, for international understanding, if we want to widen the speech. But you also said another thing. You said that a book for a child, an illustration for a child, is an experience. And this is so much more than how maybe it happens to be a simple sentence. It is not simple, because experience is what we do through all our senses. And now, lately, the neurosciences are saying it and photographing it and then showing it, but actually the Greek philosophers knew it from the night of times, and that we experience the world with all our senses all together. So our experiences are always physical, body. We talk about body cognition. You would know about that. There were two Italian scientists. They had the Nobel for it. They discovered the mirror neurons. So they are saying that every experience we do it with all our body, and our intelligence is in all our body. So even the aesthetic experience takes another dimension, and even the illustration in itself. In fact, it is moving us. It can make, an image can make you cry or laugh. And this happens because all your body would react to something that is not intellectual at all. And so giving it back to this language, it's a three-dimensional and experience, phenomenological side is so important. So thank you for mentioning this. And we have 15 minutes left. So if you want, we could also do a Q&A session if you like it. And after all, I anticipate you that then in around 20 minutes, we will have the prize-giving ceremony. So all the selected illustration, the winners of the exhibition will receive their diploma. And there will be also the communication of the Arsin Fabula Grant Award and also of the Fondation SM International Prize of Illustration that are choosing people among the selected illustrators. Before then, if anyone has a question, I think our jury would welcome it. So, go ahead. You have questions for the jury? Do you? Grazie. Don't be shy. Is there anyone? Or otherwise we go, there is one. Marianne, eccola, grazie.
It's working?
Yes, it is.
Now it's working.
I don't know if it's...
So I'm a pretty new illustrator in the area, and it's common that people say about you have to have one single style, you shouldn't use different materials because you make people confused if you use different things and you showcase different materials all the time in your portfolio. What is your opinion about it? Like, it's more interesting from the perspective of the publishing house to see it showcase the abilities of this new illustrator, that it can go through the field and express its own view in different materials, or that, no, it should skip with one material, one color palette, and go through it so you can showcase that you can excellence in that certain area.
Thank you so much for the question. So the question is about the style, no? Having one style or having more, having one technique or more. Did I get it well? Okay. Who wants to go? Marco? Bye. Add something, of course, it's more than welcome.
Yeah, yeah, I've spoken a lot about the originality of the work and so on. And I think it's important to have a style, a personal style, but it's also important for the young illustrator, for me, to be curious, to try new way to experiment in the illustration, and it's, yeah, of course it's important also to show that you have your style in a portfolio, but yeah, I think it's also important to look at the work of the other illustrators and also to try to remake other style or something like that. It's not just copy the other illustrator, it's to learn something about something new with the other styles.
Thank you, Marco. And maybe, Weven, do you like to add something? Can you take this? Thank you.
Yes. Well, I can speak from being an illustrator, and I agree with Marco very much that well, I think you have to listen really to what you want to do, and I think it's important if you want to try out different things as an illustrator and experiment and try out. I think a style or a way of working that is recognizable comes more by trying out different techniques, different ways of working, and then after a while a style develops. But if a style is just something that is a facade, you can't really develop that much. It might be recognizable, but it feels safer if the style comes from experience in a way. Also working as an illustrator for a longer time, it's maybe better to feel safe about the style, and a style that is open enough to be able to develop. Because if not, it's easy to get stuck and it all looks the same. Mm-hmm.
Would you like to add something? Because it's an important topic. This always comes out. In even if you look at careers, for example, of masters of illustration. I was thinking, for example, to Fabian Negrin or to Beatrice Alemagna, two great illustrators, okay? They have an opposite way to see this. Because one of the two is, Fabian Negrin is always changing his style, is just showing he can do everything, like researching. Beatrice Alemagna, she's also researching, but on her own style and making it, of course, different from book to book. But they're different poetic, different point of view, even about the style, I think. So it's so important, this discussion. So please, share your thoughts.
Yeah, style does, like, you have certain styles. But what we are looking for is your personal voice. Like, a personal voice does not equal to style. It's different things. You can always, like, before you have your own personal voice, you have a long way to go. You should try different styles until you find your own personal voice. And it's not easy. And also, it's not only about illustration. I think it's about reading, and about reading like classic literature and experience like travel. It's all the things, like through your reading and through your daily life. You try, and it takes time to build your own, to find your own voice. So for me, it's different things. Techniques, styles, are totally different from your own voice. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Lebac, do you like? Thank you. Amazing.
Oui. Quand je regardais des books de jeunes illustrateurs, premièrement, je voudrais voir la personnalité, et c'est pas pour le dessin. Ah tiens, c'est un illustrateur qui a la qualité plastique et en même temps qui a l'expérience là-dessus d'illustration. Donc ça parle de en dehors de l'image. Donc ce que je veux dire, c'est si vous mettez dans l'image votre expérience et votre idée, nous, on peut ressortir de ça. C'est ça, en fait.
Yeah, thank you very much. And so building your personality and as an illustrator, scusa, sì, scusa Stevie. Thank you, Stephanie Johnson, our interpreter.
When I look at the illustrations of a young illustrator, for example, well, the first thing we look at and we see is his or her personality. An illustrator is not just about a plastic quality, it's also about the experience that person has, which transpires this experience outside of actual illustrating, but which transpires in the image. And therefore, that's the most important thing about how to develop a style with not just plastic quality, but also the experience that you personally put in.
Thank you very much. So I was saying, building the personality as an artist means building your personality as a person. So it's just going through a lot of study. I was seeing here Professor Leonard Marcus. We had yesterday a wonderful conversation about the history of illustration. So if I can add my suggestion for young illustrators, it's just really study the history of illustration and maybe play with the style of the masters and with their quality and see many things. Get your eyes educated, not trained. Yes, please.
Yeah, but also to look above illustration, to look at other things, to look at fine art, read books, look at film, because sometimes it might be better to find inspiration from a field that is a bit different from what you're working in, because then you're not copying style, but you're looking at artwork or listen to music or listen to films, and you can use that as an inspiration also, and that's important. And travel, of course, and yeah.
Thank you so much. And, well, if there is another question, we have time for another one.
Sorry, maybe I want just to add something. It's important not to confuse the style with the technique, because the style, you can have the same style, personal style, with different technique. You mentioned, for example, Beatrice Alemagna, but there are a lot of... I come from Germany, and Christoph Niemann, it's a great German illustrator with different style, photography, or no, different techniques, photography or illustration, or a lot of different things.
And recognizable voice still,
Absolutely,
no?
yeah. Absolutely.
That's very interesting also. So different style and technique. Yes, thank you. Maria Antonia, abbiamo una domanda qui, grazie.
Hello, it's my first time to go to the Bologna children's book, and I'm very amazed because in this fair there is no children, there is only adults. So I would like to ask why there is no children here, and also for the jewelry, everyone are adult, no children. So. Okay. I would like to ask, how do the children think about the book? If why don't we have a position for children? And also for the conversation or dialogue, we have said dialogue is very important. And how can we build a dialogue with children? And with which age of children? Yes,
okay, thank you very much for your question. So first of all, welcome to Bologna Children's Book Fair. you're seeing, I hope you come back every year because it's an incredible experience normally we share during the years. I can answer, but then I want to, on the second especially, to hear also the voice of the jury members. Children are not allowed just because it's a professional fair, and there's around 30,000 visitors every year. So as you see, there's a lot of people, and what is going on is much more on the professionalities of the books. But I definitely see your point, and I can tell you that the city, and also in Italy all around, but actually the city of Bologna devotes very rich programs to children's books in these days, but starting in these days and going through June, and actually the whole year is full of events devoted to children, actually. So all the work and the commitment we put here in building our international community, so in exchanging rights, in also training and educated professionalities, then we'll arrive also to children, not only in the shape of books, but also with the work of many associations. Because if you see in the fair, the exhibitors are not just publishers, but you also have, for example, reading promotion associations, and you have the incredible space of Publish Her, that is a platform for empowering women in publishing, or you have some national section of IBBY, and also the International Board on Books for Young People, just to mention some of them. There are much more. And so we concentrate this work in these days because we are a huge community. And then all this that we do, and I think we share the same commitment, will go to children. And as for your second question, and then I want to also to listen to the voices, of course, of our jury members, but I like to say as a researcher and professor that there is a part of the research that is done with the children, and there are places that are committed to the dialogue with children, and many of them are here, and those are, I want to mention them because are important, and are bookshops, libraries, reading centers, association, reading promoting center, school, institution of higher education, from very early childhood that we all take care a lot about, to high university level. I think these are two different levels that have to dialogue for sure, but myself, I just speak as myself, I trust much more people that is looking very carefully to book as objects of art and of that conveys ideas, visions in a shape of a design object, than speaking theoretically of children while children are not there. I'm a little bit provocative because it is a very important topic, so thank you for raising it up. But I want to hear about also from other jury, the idea of childhood that we have in mind, for example, or even the experience we have with children reading books. So that would be fantastic, your perspective. Do you want to? Can I give you this?
It's a very cute question. I like it. But the thing is, it's a trade fair. It's a copyright trading exhibition. So of course we are adults working for kids. So and on another level, how do you know we are not children? Right?
Yes.
And in terms of conversation and communication, as adults, how we communicate with kids. Do you know Maurice Sendak? Maurice Sendak? 莫里斯桑达克，野兽国的作者。Okay, so Maurice Sendak, he has a very interesting and important kind of thing. He said that why I'm such a successful children's or picture book authors and illustrators, because he won 6 times of Caldecott Award, 6 times. So he said that why I'm so successful is because I always remember my experience as a kid. So all his memories, all his experience in his childhood, all in his mind and in his heart. That's how, as professionals, we work for children, either as illustrators or as editors and publishers. When we work with children and with children's books, we try to remember the time that we were a child. That's how we communicate with them. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think this and all your questions open up many, many more discussions. We hope these discussions will go on even after the meeting, and those are the substance of our professionalities and our reflections. So thank you very much for your attention. Now we get a little pause of like 3 minutes, and then we go to the prize giving ceremony. So thank you very much for submitting, for being here so attentive. Thank you to our jury members for your wonderful work.